Oh, happy Bashaversary! Happy Bashaversary! Happy Bashaversary! Happy Bashaversary! Hey, it's Eric at PDRC, and we're up to our 1-week Bashaversary on the new Talion EXB, and I've been beating the snot out of it. Let's take a look at it and see what kind of damage I've actually managed to achieve. What you're looking at in this section is where the shock tower's been hitting the body. This is not uncommon damage. It's to be expected. It's just one of those things that if you're doing a lot of jumping and then you foil the drop several times and you're smacking the body, it will end up bending everything up. This one here was a particularly high send where I took it off a rock pile, sent it as vertical as possible at the maximum speed, and this was one spectacular crash. And she took the damage really well. The EXB bumper has been one of those things that I really enjoyed looking at this new Talion, and it has not disappointed. On mine, you can see where it's compressed a little bit. This is from me sitting here and I drove it for about 20 minutes straight into a fixed object over and over again just to kind of see what it would do. I've managed to compress this side down just a little bit more than this side. But other than that, I mean, you figure full send, 20 minutes, and that's all it did. The front bumper is in really good shape, and all I did was compress down something that was designed to be compressed. The first thing that people noted on this car was that there was no fan over here on the heatsink, and that's just the way that it came from the factory. Now, on my car, I did install it's actually an Arma fan. I didn't put the grill guard on there just because I like to run through a lot of tall grass and it gets caught in there, and quite frankly the noise annoys me. I'd rather just replace the fan when it gets destroyed, so that's why there isn't a guard there. I did put the fan on here, and I did notice that there was a drop in temperatures on it. The motor did not run hot for me at all when I was out bashing with the thing, and we're talking about South Carolina heat here. I think the latest day this car saw was 80 degrees out, and it was holding up really well. I would like to point out that I am not running the speed gear in it. I'm just running this thing bone stock the way that it came. The fan that was on here worked out really well. I ran it with, I ran it without, and I was happy with the car both ways. With a speed gear, you're probably really going to go ahead and want to get this. I'll have a link to it in the description. The shock boots that are on here do a fantastic job of keeping dust and crud from going inside and messing with your travel. As you can see, I've already poked some holes into this. This isn't actually to be unexpected. It happens over time. You can see where it starts folding up, and then from just a lot of repetitive jumps over and over again, eventually what's going to happen is your shock's going to compress, it's going to push up against that boot, and then it's going to work a hole into it. You can replace the boot if you'd like to. I tend to keep them in place because I do go through a lot of dust and sand, and I try to keep my shocks as clean and operable as possible. But this was not an unexpected thing. I knew it was going to do that just because of the sheer amount of jumping that I do. So the front bumper that's on here, I cannot believe how well that's held up. I mean, there's a couple of dents into this thing, but considering the fact that I've hit pretty much anything that's not nailed down and then most of the stuff that is, I cannot believe how well this bumper's held up. I've caught a lot of stuff, a lot of curbs, etc., and it's still together. I mean, it's done a really great job. So no complaints and kudos on the bumper. So a week into it, and these tires have seen a lot of abuse. Now, the terrain I mostly run in is sand, grass, a lot of, it's kind of like a sand with a lot of little tiny rocks on it and gravel. That's what's behind my shop. And you'll notice that they're keeping really good shape and definition. You can see their real good crisp lines are still there. I'd like to point out that I am not running these tires on pavement or asphalt. These are off-road tires, so I treat them as such. So if you're running this on pavement and asphalt, you're going to grind these things down in no time whatsoever. This thing has a lot of power on it. So if you're going to run this on asphalt, then I would suggest getting you some good road tires. Running these is kind of like wearing scuba flippers to a wedding, so don't run these on pavement or asphalt, but on off-road they are amazing. Really great tire. Belted made a huge difference, and very impressed with the way these have held up. So the look of this car is really awesome, and a lot of folks want to go ahead and drag race with it. Just to see what it would do, I went ahead and I put together a 34 on the spool, 27 on the pinion. I threw some GRP S1 slicks on it, and when I ran it, this thing ran straight as an arrow. I think that the limited slip differential helped out a lot in conjunction with the AVC control that's on board. It did a really great job in the 132. I did not bother putting this thing on a tree or timing it. This was just for fun. I'm still not convinced that this is a great drag race vehicle. I have cars for that, you know, something that's designed to go fast and in the line. I mean, for that, I would suggest going with either the Limitless, the Felony, or the Infraction. Not saying that you can't use that limited slip to your advantage on a race. This is a car that I'm going to reach for bashing in skate parks and not high-speed thunder runs. So after a week with this car, I can say that I am very happy with it. They got the Talion, they brought it back. It feels like Italian, it runs like one, it handles, it corners, maneuvers. It's got the durability of the EXB. I've beaten the snot out of it. And granted, it's only been a week, but during this week's time, it's had a lot of hell. With my remarkably bad driving, I mean, I'm a terrible driver, but I've also had customers who are running the car, folks who had some experience, no experience whatsoever. We've hit just about everything under the sun with this thing. We've hit, you know, brick walls, we've hit signs, we've hit trees, we've hit me. The car has, you know, taken all of the abuse. But if there's a part on here that I didn't cover, shoot me a message in the comments so that I can take a look at it and answer any questions you have. For the parts that I had on here, you can get most of those from horizonhobby.com, with the exception of the tires, in which case you can go to any of your favorite sites like A-Main, Tower, etc. And I believe that they also carry the GRP brand. I do not do any online sales, so you'll have to go to those partners in order to pick up any of those parts if that's something you desire. Anyway, it's been a great week with the car. Hope you like what you've seen. Thanks for watching.